Duke Kozad is suing 33-year-old medical office manager Yolanda Reyes for filing false police charges. Yolanda says she filed charges after Duke threw a telephone at her. She's countersuing for mental anguish and pain and suffering.
Come to order. All rise. Now, this is case number 54 on the calendar in the matter of Kozad versus Reyes. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Kozad, you work as an attendant for someone who was ill. Is that right?
Yes, Judge Scheinlin.
And is your claim that when you went to pick up some of this person's medical material at the doctor's office, you came in contact with the defendant, who was a receptionist? Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And there was some sort of a dispute as to whether you had the right to pick up these records. And there were, according to, I guess, to both of you, words exchanged. You left and was subsequently arrested and
There was no arrest, Your Honor.
Subsequently charged with assaulting the defendant, and you incurred a great deal of expense, lawyers' expenses, court expenses. Those charges were ultimately dismissed, according to you, and you are suing the defendant for malicious prosecution, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says that you did, in fact, assault her, and she is counterclaiming for a variety of things as a result of that assault. So that's what this case is about. How long had you been working as an attendant, Mr. Kozad?
I've been living with the particular person involved for about, it'll be 9 years in November.
Is this an employee relationship?
No, Your Honor, we just been roommates, and he has trouble with reading and writing, and so he assigned me power of attorney in 1998, which I have proof of.
Okay. What records did you want?
The results of a blood test called a PSA.
PSA is for usually for prostate cancer?
Yes, Judge.
Did you call the office first?
Yes, I did. She said that she could not provide me with the results over the phone, but asked me if I had power of attorney and stated that if I brought it to the office, I could obtain the results.
So what did you do, sir?
I discussed this with Leonard, who said that due to the fact that his next appointment wasn't for 3 months, he'd like to have the results in a more timely fashion. I went to the office, presented Ms. Reyes with the power of attorney document, and asked for the PSA results. She asked me for a copy of the power of attorney form, which I provided her with, and she said she would like to place it in Mr. Park's file. I indicated that was my only copy, and that if she could just take a copy of the original and then give me the results. Then she said she wouldn't do that.
She wouldn't make a copy of the power of attorney?
Right. She handed me the form back, and then I stated to her if she didn't provide me with the results, I would call the police. And then she handed the phone receiver through the window to me and dialed the non-emergency number, which had an elaborate menu, and I asked her to press 0. And then she said, well, I have to go call the police somewhere else, and she took the phone away from me.
How did she do that?
She grabbed the coiled end of the cord that was attached to the base unit on her side of the wall and pulled on it. And I have in the police report that her colleague was there and stated that's what she did.
Okay. Now, what's the next thing that happened? You left.
No, I went downstairs to where the pharmacy was, and there's 2 payphones there. And I called the police a second time on the 911 number, at which time they told me that in between the 2 calls, Ms. Reyes had made a call. And did I throw a phone at her? And I told her no. Then I sat down to wait for the police, and her colleague, Ms. came down and sat right next to me and said that the whole...
Don't tell me what Ms. said. That's hearsay.
She sat next to me and talked with me for a while and said that if...
Don't tell me what she said.
Then she went back upstairs, and then 2 officers came. At the time, there was no arrest, and she wrote down some notes on a small pad.
Did you subsequently, sir, have to appear in court?
Yes, Your Honor, I had to appear 6 times.
Did you hire an attorney?
Yes, I did initially, Your Honor. I have the receipts and the description of the things that the attorney did for me.
Okay, and ultimately you then had to use a public defender?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the case ever go to trial?
No, Judge. The case never went to trial. There was no arrest. The case was dismissed at the request of the DA.
Do you have a letter to that extent?
Yes, I do. And
okay. So what I would like to see first is the letter of dismissal from the district attorney. Then I would like to see your police reports, including the statement of Miss.
Your Honor, the police report also states that there were no marks or injuries
Just
upon...
a minute, I will read it. Don't tell me what it states. Reading was one of the first criteria that I had to pass for this job. So the district attorney decided not to prosecute this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's one thing. Well, this report from the police doesn't really bear out, sir, what you told me. He told me that he pulled the phone back and then threw it in the window towards the cradle. Kozad told me, I guess I wasn't as gentle with the phone as I could have been. He told me that when he threw the receiver, Reyes was near the back phone talking to someone, and he did not see the phone hit her.
Your Honor, I'd like to address that inconsistency, and the fact of the matter is that she was next to the phone because her colleague stated the same thing, that she was next to the phone.
The colleague, Miss, also said that you threw the phone.
Your Honor, what she perceived as throwing of the phone was due to the tension developed between me holding the handset and Miss Reyes holding the cord. I released the phone, and it went back through the window.
Kozad, according to Miss, pulled the phone back and then threw it through the window. That's what she says.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Duke Kozad says office manager Yolanda Reyes had him falsely arrested after he attempted to retrieve his friend's medical records. Yolanda says Duke threw a telephone at her.
She, that's Miss, went downstairs not to comfort you, sir, but to
I
get
didn't say
the
she
license,
came to comfort me, Your
but to
Honor.
get the license plate number of your car. That's what she went down for.
Well, Your Honor, how would she know what kind of car I drive to do this?
I'm just telling you that there are inconsistencies here with the story that you tell.
Your Honor, the officer, while she did an exemplary job, was a trainee and made other inconsistent remarks on her report,
I'm just telling you,
too.
these are your reports. These are the reports you gave me.
The items in quote, I did say I wasn't as gentle with that phone as I could have been.
And you said you
Everything
threw
else
it.
is the officer's
And you threw
words.
it. And Ms. says you threw it. You asked me to look at Ms. statement. Ms. says that you threw the phone. That doesn't mean necessarily that it hit her, because nobody saw it hit her. And the police officer saw absolutely no bruising on her, nor marks, nothing. So I don't know whether you hit her or not. What makes you think, Miss Reyes, that it's against the law to turn over a patient's records to the patient?
Those are the rules, and I have a letter from the doctor.
I don't give a rat's tutu about. I don't give a rat's tutu about what the doctor's rules are. Doctor's rules are not law. You said to the police, according to policy and the law, patient's records are their records, and a patient wants the test results, and a patient's allowed to get the test results. Period. End of discussion. And if he's got a power of attorney, he stands in the same place as the patient, right? That's one thing.
Yes.
So you were wrong. He had a power of attorney. Now, my next question to you is, I assume that in a medical office you have a fax machine or you have a copy machine. Is that right?
Yes.
Why didn't you volunteer to make a copy of his power of attorney?
I did. He got mad.
Wait just a minute. You said to him, nicely, when he came in, is that the power of attorney we talked about? I'll take it, let me make a copy and put it in the file.
Exactly
Is that what you
I did.
said?
Exactly what I did.
Is that what you said?
She said, I'd like to place this in the patient's file, meaning the copy I had. I said, that's my only copy. Could you, I can't release this copy to you. I need to retain possession of this copy.
Did you ask her to make a copy of it?
I don't remember, Your Honor.
I don't know whether she said she had to make a copy or not, because when you got off the phone with her that morning, she was hell-bent on trying to contact the patient himself. So she called the patient, and you spoke to her on the phone and said, the patient's doing the laundry. He cannot come to the phone, right?
I said he was out. I didn't say he couldn't come to the phone, Your Honor. I said he's outside doing the laundry.
That's exactly what I said. Mr. Kozad, let's not split hairs here, sir. So then you come down to the office after she has tried to get in touch with the patient, I assume to verify that, you know, it's okay to give you the record. She's not able to do that. So I don't think that you were...
Your Honor, she did know because I accompanied Mr. Park to the office on 2 previous occasions to fill out his forms.
I don't care. They don't want to get sued. They don't want to get sued by giving any of his medical history to somebody if they're not absolutely positive that that's what the patient wants, especially if you're not his guardian. You may have power of attorney. However, you had power of attorney that allows you, I assume, to get what you need. Let me just take a quick look at your power of attorney, sir. I'd like to see it. Claims and litigation, personal and family maintenance, benefits from Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and the military, retirement plan transactions, and tax matters. Nothing here says that you have the right to his medical records. You want to take a look at it again?
Your Honor, under item K, where it says benefits from Medicare, Medi-Cal, etc., Mr. Park paid for his doctor's visit with a Medi-Cal card.
Stretching! There's a difference between paying for with a Medicaid card, Medi-Cal card, check, or anything else. It doesn't give you the right to get his medical records.
I'm in error, Your Honor.
You were. So that if Ms. Reyes had given you these medical records, and if Mr. Parks had sued the doctor for turning over those medical records, they would have been unprotected. That's not to say that you hurt her. Now, Ms. Reyes, I would like you to tell me your version of what happened.
I got a call on September 21st around 9:30 in the morning from this gentleman here, Mr. Kozat. He told me, he explained to me, I've been reading an article in the paper in regards to the PSA, and I want to get Leonard's, test results. I said, well, first of all, I don't have that right. The doctor is the only one that can release that information to the patient. He said, well, I have power of attorney. I said, well, as soon as the doctor comes, I will have him call you and release that information to you. He got upset and he hung up. I gave it a few minutes to call the patient and let him know that doctor will give you a call and give them to you, and if you have any questions, you can have all your questions answered.
Okay.
When I called, he said, no, he's out doing laundry, and hung up on me. About an hour later, he shows up, very hostile, irate, demanding that I give him the test results of that PSA of our patient. I again told him, I can't release this information to you. The doctor needs to release this to you. I asked him to see the paperwork. He gave it to me. I proceeded to step just not even 5 feet behind me to the copy machine, and he started getting very hostile at the window.
What did he say?
He said, give me my paper back. No, I didn't say you can make a copy of it. Give it to me right now. He goes, I'm going to call the cops.
Go ahead.
I said, hold on. I gave him back the paperwork, called the police department, handed him the phone. I wasn't on the phone, so I don't know the prompts that you have to go through. And we had another call. There's another phone behind me, say maybe 8 feet at the other desk. And my medical assistant proceeded to get that call. She had a question regarding one of the patients that was calling.
So you walked over there?
No, I did not. I did not walk. I stood right here. Here's my desk. Here's the phone. Here's the window. I grabbed the phone, gave him the cord. He stood right at the window. And as I did that, he started getting irrational. Oh, well, I take back those comments that I made about you. I thought you were more intelligent and professional than this. And, I said, wait a minute here. I said, you really need to leave because we had 2 patients coming in. I told him,
You need to leave.
You need to leave and call, the cops somewhere else. I hung up the phone.
You pressed the button to hang up the phone.
To hang up the phone. I thought I was doing him a favor.
Whatever. You weren't doing him a favor.
He stepped a couple feet back, stretching the cord like an angry face, like just trying to break my phone, and then threw it at me, and it hit me here and here.
You were not injured, other than...
Just the phone just slamming me really hard from it going and him pulling it because he caused it,
You didn't receive any medical treatment?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay. But you decided to press charges against him?
Yes.
Tell me why.
For the mental anguish, because, after that day, of course, I left. I left my work. Yes, I did. I didn't come back for 2 days.
You were upset? Okay.
And I still proceed to
Your
lock
Honor,
the
she
door.
called her husband, who threatened me in the hallway of the medical office.
I'm not, just a second. Am I talking to you?
No, Judge.
Go ahead. You left that day. Now, what kind of harassment do you say you've suffered since then?
Physically, The public defender came into our office like 5 times trying to tell me we could settle this out of court right now while we have patients, no consideration for the doctor's business at all.
That can't be attributed to him.
And
That his lawyer, that the public defender, sometimes they get a little bit overzealous.
Oh,
Remember
I
those?
understand. They're
Remember
doing their
those?
job, but I
Little
mean,
bit overzealous. You know, so he comes to your office and he figures he'll make a pest out of himself. You'll say, forget it.
And on the 28th, his brother called me and insisted that I release the chart to him. He said, I'm coming from the airport right now and I'm going to get that chart. I said, no, you cannot come to the office.
You can't attribute that to him either. By the way, did the brother come to the office?
No, we told him not to, and I called the police, and it's stated in here also.
Okay. What else? What other harassment?
Other than just not feeling safe at my place of work, wondering if he's going to walk in, because an hour later he walks through the door.
That only happened once, is that right?
But he's called, yes.
I've never called.
The once that he showed up in the office to get the medical records was this one day that this happened. Is that right? All right, your counterclaim's dismissed. Now let's get to your claim. A, Mr. Kozad, you did not have a power of attorney to get medical records. At least on its face, there are certain specified things that you are enabled to do as a result of the power of attorney, and getting medical records is not one of them. So you were wrong to go there and to confront Ms. Reyes with regard to those medical records, because she would have been negligent had she given you those medical records. I find that by your own statement to the police immediately after this incident occurred, you threw the phone at the defendant.
I never said that, Your Honor. Those were officer's words.
You gave me the report. That was what other officer reported immediately after this incident.
Incorrect,
That's
Your
a
Honor. That report wasn't written for 2 days subsequent to the event itself.
This is 9 months later, sir. And 9 months later, your memory is not as fresh as what happened as it is 2 days later. Mr. Kozad, I'm making my ruling now. This is not the time to argue. You, whether you threw the phone at Miss Reyes and hit her, or threw the phone at Miss Reyes, and even if it missed her, that is either an assault or an attempted assault. And I find that you did, in fact, throw that phone through the window, so that she had a right to pursue her remedy and be a complainant in a case. Now, the fact that the prosecutor's office determined, put your hand down, not to prosecute you because they have better things to do, does not mean that the incident did not happen. Certainly, I don't believe that this was a malicious prosecution. You acted badly that day. She tried to do the right thing. She did, in fact, call the patient to try to get in touch with the patient after she spoke to you. I believe that you did hang up on her when she called, that you went to the office, you went with a faulty document. She refused to give you those records. She had an absolute right to do that. You got angry, you threw the phone at her, and she had you either arrested or charged. That is her right as a citizen, and your lawsuit is dismissed. That's all.
How does that
The
excuse
district
me?
attorney would have came today